coming in to speak to you guys. And let me talk to you a little bit about Steve. Look, there are a lot of people in the world who talk about being experts, and then there are people who can back that up. And Steve is a 9-time Amazon best-selling author in marketing and sales, has spoken in 15 countries, and has trained over 65,000 entrepreneurs, professionals, and business owners. He's got 20 years TV and video experience, including hosting his own network TV show and been an executive producer for Warner Brothers. So not anybody, he's been an executive presenter for Warner Brothers. This man knows his stuff. He's personally created several 6- and 7-figure multinational businesses of his own, including inventing and marketing an environmental product selling 4 million units into 26 countries. I'm going to say this, right? Maybe, hope it's not politically incorrect, but we're still at a stage in this world we're selling environmental products in bulk. Isn't that easy? That's a hell of an effort. 26 countries, 4 million units, pretty amazing. Since January 2021, he's been generating 6 figures. So that's through COVID every year just from podcasting. I am fascinated in podcasting. He's now teaching others to do the same. So he's one of these passion guys that's gone, I'm doing fantastic at this. I'm going to learn some speaking skills from someone like Sashua, and I'm going to come along and I'm going to share this with other people so they can have the same success. And the truth is, and this is where it's really cool, there's enough podcasts in the world for us all to be podcasts and making the same kind of money from it. We're not going to run out of them. There's a lot of podcasts out there with a lot of reach, and Steve's going to show you how to pick the right ones and to make the most money. Steve, it's great to have you in New Opportunities Summit talking about new opportunities. Are you with us?
Mate, I am in the house. I'm going to give everybody just that little bit of a warning. I'm on the back end of bronchitis, so I may have a little tickly cough. So if I have to mute myself a little bit while I have a quick attack. But apart from that, I've got some super exciting stuff to share with you. And let me give you a quick heads up. The reason I love podcasting, I'm damn lazy. I actually don't want to set up my own podcast. I went through all the hassles of doing that. There is great reason to have your own podcast, but I'm going to share. I'm actually going to firstly share my screen, get that out of the road first. And if I've got somebody with a thumbs up to say yes, it's all happening. I'm going to thumbs up there, which is great. Yeah. To make it easy, I'm going to show exactly how to generate your first or next $20,000 as a pod guest without having to be a rock star or being salesy. And you don't have to get on the biggest and the best. In fact, I'm going to share how I made $16,000 being on a podcast that did not ever have any more than 100 downloads. And yeah, and a lot of people are out there are saying, oh, we're going to teach you how to get on 100 podcasts. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Why would you want to get on 100 podcasts? I make 6 figures each year on getting on no more than 20 podcasts. Again, I told you, I'm lazy. I don't want to get on 100 if I've got a formula to make this sort of money getting on just 20. Now, so I can see, now, everybody wave their fingers because you're going to be using them. You're going to be typing in, you're going to be writing down notes. And the first thing I need to have a look at is, who are you? Do you have a coaching business? Put in a B if you've got some sort of a business. If you've got a coaching business, a consulting business, you've got products to sell, just type in a B so I know the number and the type of people we've got in here. Because today we're going to go through the opportunity to leverage the hottest platform. Is it fact? Is it fiction? Or can you manage a fortune? Now, there's 3 big questions that most people ask, and they ask me when they come to me to help them with their business. How do I stand out above my competition? How do I get in front of more of my ideal clients? And most importantly, how can I sell more easily? Now, if you would like the answers to 1, 2, or 3, type in 1, 2, 3. But if you like the answers to all 3, just type in 4. If you want the answers to all 4, how you stand out, how you get in front of your ideal clients, and how you can sell more easily. My goal today is to answer all of those, to give you a framework and a system and a way that you can learn how to do it and learn how to do it over and over again, not just for podcasting, but for your overall business, because there are there's three ways people work. There's guesswork. That's hard. A lot of people are having a go at things. They're doing it by guesswork. And there's hard work. You know, a lot of you are putting in the work. You're doing the stuff. Normally, guesswork creates hard work. And then there's framework. Following somebody else's proven framework that they've done the shortcuts for you, I find that is the best way that I ever do anything. If I'm going to embark on anything, I find who's done it before me, who's got the knowledge, how do I pay to get the best knowledge so that I don't have to make all of those mistakes. So I know that some of you may be in the 1 or the 2, maybe you're in the 3, but today I'm going to give you a framework that, and here's the difference. A lot of people say you should practice what you preach. Now, as Paul may have alluded to, I only ever preach what I'm practicing. And I'm going to share with you stuff that I've been doing as late as last week to be able to generate exactly the same of what I'm saying that I'm doing right now. I'm living this, breathing this, and my students are now getting some fantastic results from it. So let's have a quick look at why podcasting. Why podcasting? Now, the interesting thing is podcasts and listeners are increasing rapidly. There's up to 3.4 million active podcasts right now. Has anybody noticed that the reach on social media is shrinking? Good old Facebook and all of those. You put a post up and 2 or 3 or 4 people see it. You have at least 30 minutes to create a relationship with your audience. Social media, you have seconds, mere seconds to get their attention. You can target your exact audience. You know exactly who you're going to speak to. In our courses, we teach people who is the audience first. How can you add value to them? Then who is the host? And then we start the work on. Instead of saying, who's got the biggest podcast? No, you can target your exact audience. Most of the time, social media, you have no control who sees your posts. You are introduced as the trusted authority. In podcasts, in social media, you fight for attention. You're in the sea of sameness. You're out there just fighting to get attention. But in podcasts, you're actually introduced. Sit down and listen to this person. Audiences show up to listen to you. Social media, you just pop up quite often, interrupting other people's days. And hosts ask you to share your expertise and share the next steps for people working with you. Social media, you just start talking about yourself. What side of the equation? Put a P if podcasting makes sense versus social media. Okay, because if you're taking the risk on social media, you can spend a lot of time, effort, and money. And I guarantee that if you put an hour a week into serious marketing on podcasting, you are going to get significant returns on effort. Now, I know some of you are here for the whole day, but let's check to see if this is for you. If you have a product or service that you believe in, okay, you got a product or service that you believe in. Does your product or service get results? But most importantly, do you believe in you? Put a Y in there if you've got all 3. Put a Y, just type a Y in the chat. Yes, I've got product or service. It does get results, and I want to back myself. Later on today, I've got a course that I'll put just for you guys, just to launch you into podcasting. Okay, so if you believe in you, the saying now is actually going to be podcast or perish. Because last year, in a survey of 17,000 businesses, the marketing managers in each of those said they will be investing more in audio marketing for 2024. Podcasting has come of age. Okay, the big boys are starting to invest there because that's where they're getting a return on effort. Okay, so if you want to get a return on effort, then this is for you. listen up. It's not that hard. I don't do things that are too hard. And yes, Paul, it was January 21. It was in the middle of COVID. Here in Australia, I know a lot of people here would know it. A lot of businesses were surviving just on the government handouts that were going on. Some of my clients were surviving on government handouts, and I was the leftover that they possibly couldn't afford at the time. So I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to pack up my bags via the Zoom chair, and I'm moving to America. It's bigger. There's a lot more people over there. So that's what I did. But instead of going over there saying, I am a business coach, I am a sales coach, we're going to learn about this in a minute. It's like, what can I do to solve a problem and me be the creator of? So I looked at what was going on. My TV video background, my sales background. I created the back pocket guide to the art and science of virtual selling. So I went over there, and with one introduction to one networking event, and then basically getting on podcasting, podcasting, interviews, within 10 months, it was a six-figure business. And I've been generating six figures every year just being a podcast guest. Not hosting my own, but by being a guest and looking at the framework of what I did. Let me tell you, I made a few mistakes along the way. There were some times where I went in there and I was just doing the old cookie cutter. Oh, by the way, those of you who are going to come and do the training with me, this sentence is banned. And I know Sasha and Nick, you've been some of my training. I am passionate about and I can speak on. Get rid of it. It's banned. It will not get you into the ones you want to get to. And I opened up one day and I said, oh, yes, I can do this, 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 this. And the guy just said, oh, you're just a sales trainer. I was like, oh, okay. Then very quickly thought on my feet, came out with this couple of little things. I thought, wow, that worked. I need to turn that into a formula and a script that my people can use over and over again. And they all have 100% records going from the conversation to being invited as a guest. Okay. So if you want to get that sort of track record as well, you can follow this. Look, to tell you the truth, I wasn't ever intending to teach this because I thought everybody was making money being a podcast guest. I did it. I thought everybody's doing this. And about 12 months down the track, one of my business clients said, oh, Steve, can you help me with some podcast guesting? I've been paying to get on 2 to 3 podcasts per week. And in 3 months, I haven't generated a client. I thought, oh my God, why? Then when I looked at what they were doing, and then I thought, well, is everybody doing this? And mostly they were. I won't have time to get into all of it. I said, okay, here's what you need to do. And in 2 weeks of training, in the next 2 podcasts as a guest, she got $2,500 clients by just turning things around. And that now she's really built her business and expanded her business dramatically just by being a guest instead of wasting 3 months. So there's some of the things that we're going to be teaching you. So as with most things, I create a blueprint, and that's what we're going to go through bits of it today. The first step is to create you to be the prize, not the pursuer, be the prize. And we're going to talk a little bit about positioning on how you stand out. The next part of today's training is how do you get on the podcast and how do you leverage them, the 4 or 5 different ways that you can make money. And then how do you sell? There is no sense having all of these people come to you if you can't close them, if you can't enroll them, get them excited. And we're going to do a couple of little things on it. So type in R if you're ready. If you are ready for this exact blueprint that you could use, then we're going to get stuck into it straight away. Now, the first bit, we've got lots of R's coming through. You're ready. Looks like we've got a lot of ready people here, Paul. Okay. Be the prize, not the pursuer. Normally when I've got 90 minutes to 2 hours to play and do some interactivity, have a think about how you introduce yourself. If you're in a networking meeting, or even if we were to ask you now, if you say, I am A, I am a coach, I am a trader, I am a consultant, I am a something, then you're a brown box. When you title yourself by your position or your category, then you're a brown box. And nobody knows who you are or what you do until they unwrap the box. There could be gold inside, but you're sitting on the shelf the same as everybody else. And an A, if you are an A, then that's basically the money that you're going to get. When you become a the, when you are the creator, the authority in the something, life and your bank balance changes. So think about, are you an A or are you a the? Now, if you are titled by an A, I am A, then it's time to change things around. I'm going to share a couple of examples of how people have done it. And you can say, I could do that too. Because when you work on it, it's not that hard. Write this down. Tattoo it on the back of your eyelids, or at least tattoo it on the back of your wrist. It doesn't matter. Your perceived position predicts your profits. It is your perceived position. If you are perceived as a leader and an authority, and you are unique, then higher quality people will come to you. If you are an A and you're the same as everybody else, then you will compete on price. Okay. Now, a business consultant, is that a brown box or is that a brown box? It's a brown box. This lady came to me. Basically, she said, hey, Steve, I'm a business consultant. I basically go in and work as a part-time CEO, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, okay. Now, fractionals is huge. It's gone from being unique to being very brown box now. So we couldn't do fractional CEO. So we turned her into the back pocket CEO, created a little bit of uniqueness around her, went a chapter in one of our books, and within 2 years, she was named in the top 20 innovative leaders globally and was in demand, high demand here in Australia. Now, was it because she got any better at what she did? Was it because she got any more qualifications, what she did? No. She stood out. She went from an A to a the. I always love this one because this is her in London picking up the award. And I always say we could take her out of the brown box, but we can't take her out of the brown dress. But I'm not their fashion guru. But just by turning and changing your unique authority positioning, you can add thousands of dollars to your business. Here's another one that was a very A dentist. Not only a dentist, but a dentist within a practice. That's pretty brown box. He was a dentist. He also did my program and said, hey, I'm a dentist. I don't like selling. I don't sell. So positioning and packaging. We looked at what he did, not going to go into the long story about it, but we created through the program, he created the Teeth for Life program. People were coming in with broken teeth because of the filling that they got 40 years ago. They were always going to break. He sold the Teeth for Life program. He sold the outcome, not I'm going to fix your broken tooth. No, you got 6 more. Do you think we should do those? Yes. So instead of just selling a broken tooth for $1,800, he was selling Teeth for Life programs for up to $40,000. And he's a dentist who doesn't sell. Paid fortnightly. I'm not going to say how much there, but this one here, we added 7 figures by changing his positioning and his packaging. Did that cost him any extra in marketing? Did that cost him anything extra to do? Changing your positioning out there will change your bank balance. On average, now get another column, 2 columns on a sheet of paper. Just positioning alone with most people, and you will see that this will increase anything from 15 to 20% on average. Some people have doubled and quadrupled, but just by changing your position, what would an additional 20% per month, write it down, what would 20% per month mean to you and your income? Okay, just write that down. If you're on 10,000 per month. If you're on 5,000 per month, okay, that's an extra $1,000 per month by standing out and attracting more quality people. Type a yes. I'll make you type 3 letters in yes. Is this making sense? Is this making sense to you guys? I'll look at the chat. Lots of yeses. Some great, very efficient people who are typing in a Y. That's good. That's okay. While you're typing yes. Now, here's the pod guesting. We're going to spend about 15 minutes on this. Most people put the pressure on the actual interview to make the money. I'm going to deliver some great information. And if I give enough information, they're going to think I'm smart. And sooner or later, they're going to contact me. The thing that really, I was going to swear, bugs me, pees me off, is most of the people out there that are teaching how to be a great podcast guest is all about being a great interviewee. Is it okay that I'm helping you and it's all about helping you make money? Type in the $sign if you would like me to focus on how I can help you generate income, not just to be a good interviewee. Because all they will do, they will say, share your story, share your expertise, share a link for them to go and find you. What they forgot to say, if that's all they're going to teach you to do, is get on your knees, put your hands together, and then look skyward, because that's what you need to do if that's all you're going to do. Okay, so the pressure most people put on the interview, and that is hopefully they will hear some good information, maybe get a lead magnet, go into my funnel and book a call, and ideally sooner or later we'll make money. I'm going to share just a couple of nuggets on how you can turn the actual interview into a lot more money. Okay, most people just do the interview. Okay, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to change my pen color. I'm going to squeeze some extra in, do it quickly. There's 3 relationships in a podcast. There's the host, there's the guest, and my pen can't spell. And then there's the audience. In the pre-call chat, and we had spent 2 weeks in a training on the pre-call chat. On the pre-call chat, you excite the host. You excite the host about you being on, but you excite the host about potential things that you could do together outside just the podcast itself. I did one the other day. It was early. It was 5:30 Friday morning. I was being interviewed to be interviewed. Steve, tell me about what you do, blah, blah, blah. It was supposed to be half an hour. We went for 45 minutes. He loved, I pulled out the blueprint and said, hey, look, this is what we could do. Is there anything else that would be valuable for your people? And he said, yeah, I've got a whole community that would love that, not just the audience. What about we run a workshop for them? That's exciting the host, okay? And you get them excited. It's your job also to excite the audience. Okay, most people will sit and have a conversation with the host. But let's just say Paul's my host. I say, hey, Paul, this is just for your people. So if you're watching this at home, get your pens ready. Paul, I know your people are going to love this, so get ready. So I'm bringing the audience in, and that's giving them a surge of oxytocin, that belonging drug. So the more you can bring the audience in, the more that they'll feel good and want more of you after. Then there's this one here, the host and the audience. You're there because of the host, they're there because of the host. And if I can elevate and edify, and I've got Kylie sitting in front of me here. She's my host right now. Kylie, you'd know from all the fantastic work that you do in that, and then I would go on to my answer. So I've just elevated and edified the host in front of their audience. Now, Kylie's got a surge of dopamine. It's like, wow, thank you. I feel really good now. And the audience is like, wow, our host is somebody really special. And then once you've got that energy flowing around, they don't want it to leave. So when you do get to the end, they are dying to take the next step. There are so many things that you can do in a conversation. And in our training, we will teach and give you scripts on how to excite the host and excite the audience so that they're running towards you. So that's just the purchase. The next bit is referrals. When you have a unique positioning, you have a unique product, you talk about unique solutions during your talk, people say, I've got to connect with Nick because he said this. Or I was talking to someone the other day. I was on this great podcast and Sashua gave these 3 great nuggets. I think they'll be beneficial for you. So when you've got the right positioning and packaging and the right talk, you will get more referrals from the host and from the actual audience themselves. Then there is partnering, and the other one is promote. These are the 2 big ones. And that lady that had the small podcast, excuse me, she only had 100 downloads ever. She said, Steve, I've got a small podcast. So I said, yeah, great. Here's what I'm going to cover. Here's what I do. And she said, I've got a whole group of people that would love that. Let's do the podcast and promote an event to your people, to her people. We did that. She was so excited. She was an affiliate for the next 2 workshops that I ran. She generated me $16,000 in 6 months from a tiny podcast by leveraging all of these. Type in 4P. 4P. If now pod guesting is making sense to you, type in 4P. Lots of 4Ps coming in. Cool. We're going to the next bit. Here's a few examples of how it can work for you. And this happened a little earlier this year. I booked a 90-minute workshop. There was just 20 people there. I netted $14,000. We co-created a new product. That's the partnering. And that product now is being sold ongoing. That's generating $2,000 to $4,000 ongoing per month. We recorded the interview. There was 2 new clients for my Authority Makeover program came from that podcast. That was $10,000 just from the podcast. Can you see the multiplying effect when you go into the conversation, that it is not just about the episode? Write this down. Get your pen. This is gold. The podcast is the doorway for opportunities, not the destination. It's the doorway to open opportunities. Okay. Excuse me. I hope I'm getting far enough off. I can't find the mute button. A student from one of our trainings in February, from a pre-call, booked a webinar and made $12,000 before the podcast was recorded. And Nancy, excuse me, is also a sales trainer. She knows her own sales. Steve, this is falling into place. I did my first collaboration for an event that we will use the podcast to promote. Thank you for making it so easy. Type an F in if you would like a framework to deliver all of this, to follow the framework, or you were happy with the guesswork and the hard work. How many Fs have we got coming through here? Lots of Fs coming through. Triple Fs on you, Jeffrey. Cool. Okay. Smart people. Let's keep rocking along. Okay, so that's basically some overview of how you can actually leverage podcasting and pod guesting. Okay, so far, we're working our way around the blueprint. We've looked at your positioning. We've looked at increasing roughly 20%. Okay. We've looked at your pod guesting. Okay. From what you have and you will learn, you will get more leads, more calls, more conversations implementing our framework. So Let's just say you only do one per month. You generate more leads, more calls. What would one new client per month mean to you? Add that up. Put that onto the list. You will get referrals. And let's just say you do a collaboration every 3 months. And let's say that collaboration basically generates just $5,000, just a simple one. You sell more of your courses, you sell more of your program or your services, you get in front of more of your people, you might do 2 or 3 podcasts and send more of those people in, and you've got more coming through there. If all that did, and you ran 4 of those, that's an extra 20,000 just there from getting on podcasts, leveraging events, getting more clients, 12 clients, and let's just say they're only $500. That's an extra $6,000 just doing that. And we've already increased your positioning and your fees by 20%. Type in $3 if this is starting to add up, because none of this is big, none of this is huge, but it is really, really adding up big time. Now, we're going to get into the sales part of it. Fantastic. Right on, and plenty of time. Actually, I'm probably going to have a little bit of time for Q&A, Paul. Okay, next part here. What are you really selling? When I ask the people, what is it that you do and what is it that you sell? And generally what they do is they will tell me about the box of stuff that they do. I have an XYZ course that's got lots of weeks and training and videos and stuff. Or I have a XYZ service. I charge X dollars per hour and X dollars per this. They're selling the box value. Okay. And you know where the term pushy comes from? I don't want to feel pushy. It's because people come into a sales conversation generally with a value that they are prepared to pay. Quite often it's close to zero, but there is a value. And the person keeps pushing up the value of the box, trying to put more stuff into the box. But wait, you get more. You get the kitchen sink, plus a block of flats, plus Tasmania. And you are trying to push up the value of the box so that they see the value in the box. However, the interesting thing is, write this down, big letters. Agreed implementable value. Write it down. I'll say it again. Agreed implementable value. So we're going back to here. So far, if we work together, we're going to be looking at putting an extra 20% in here. Okay, if you do the podcasting formula the way that we're going to be showing you how to do it, and if all you're doing is you've got a sale of $500 per client, the agreed implementable value of us working together on this part is going to be this. If you do, and we teach you how to do the collaboration, if all you do is run one event per quarter and all you do is generate 5,000, that's just $20,000. So the agreed implementable value of just this part alone, if you put it into your business, is getting close to about $25,000 to $30,000. Remember at the beginning, I'm showing you how you can generate your first or next $20,000. We've gone past that already. And I haven't even taught you how to sell better, sell easier, with less stress, and actually damn enjoy it. Because I know somebody here who, I have permission to use her testimony as using the formula that I'm about to teach you. So what are you really selling? Are you selling the box value, or are you communicating the agreed implementable value? Now, one of the people we worked with was, because he's moved on now, a financial planner. Is that Brown Box or is that Brown Box? Not only was he a financial planner, but he was a financial planner within a franchise. So he was really constrained. Some of the things that you will learn in what you get in the course that you get with me is how to create your blueprint, how to sell with your blueprint. So his blueprint, because he was a financial planner, he also qualified mortgage broker and accountant, we created his three-dimensional financial review. Not going to go into the details. He would stand beside other Yellow Brick Road franchisees at a trade show and would be 4 times the leads he would generate. Instead of saying, hey, I'm a financial planner, would you like financial planning? It's like, hey, I'm a little different to most. I've got a complete three-dimensional review of your finances. In fact, as a planner, I can look at blah, 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 blah to make sure you can retire comfortably. As a mortgage broker, I can make sure that you're not paying too much on your mortgage, in fact, reduce it. And as an accountant, I can make sure that you've got the right tax structure and you're not paying too much tax. When would you like your 3D review? Selling the outcome and the agreed implementable value. I'll just close all of these. Of course, on the next slide, his results were absolutely phenomenal. 84% showed up, not just booked a call, showed up. This was cold zip code. I don't have to say zip code. You're all either Australian or Asian. Postcode generated leads. Postcode cold leads, 84 booked and showed up. He doubled his fees. He doubled his conversion rate and doubled his referrals. He now, and we've set up his own franchise, Your Local Money Mentor. Now, is that jumping out of a brown box into a the? He is the creator of Your Local Money Mentor. And here is the sales formula that you will absolutely love. And then we'll wrap up on how you can get your hands on all of this. It's called the DNQC formula. A scientifically proven by a company in America, Decision Labs, is the most powerful, conversational, buyer-focused formula on the planet. In 2 minutes, I'm going to go through what would normally take 2 hours. But those who get to work with me, you will hear it over and over again. So what you'll normally do is if you're on a podcast or you're in a sales conversation, you'll start with data. Nick's asked me a question. Great question, Nick. I will give some information. And normally that would be it. And I'd probably get some more information, and go to the next question. Here's how you structure it. You give some information, great information. Go into a well-constructed, and you get the actual scripts and formulas to do what we call hero stories. Well-constructed 90-second narrative of somebody that you've worked with. Nick's asked me a question. Here's my answer, Nick. Oh, that reminds me. Somebody that I worked with not that long ago had exactly that problem, the same problem as the people at home. So I'm making sure that they're feeling involved. And here's what we did out of our unique system to solve it. And here's the results. They got financial or emotive, generally both. Now, for your people at home, what would it mean to them if they got those results? And that's quantity. My pen's not working well. Don't you ever get pens that don't write neat and they don't spell right? No pen I ever buy writes neat. I don't know what the problem is. It's quantify. So you got data, narrative, then quantify the results that the prospects at home, the audience, would potentially get, and then confirm. And Nick, I'm sure your people would love those results, wouldn't they? and I'm nodding my head. And Nick's sitting there nodding his head too. I can see Nick. So what you've done in probably about a 2.5 minute answer, instead of saying, here is my answer, next question, here is my answer, next question, brought it to life. They can see how you have helped other people. So you're actually, yep, I've got time. Yes, the start of the story is just like me. The end of the story is when Harry met Sally. I'll have what they're having. That's how you structure the story. You say, that reminds me, I worked with somebody who had the same problems. Here's how we fixed it. Here's the results they got. And the people at home and the audience are thinking, I want what they're having. If you're having a one-on-one sales call, it's exactly the same. Hey, here's how we can help the problem that you walked in the door with. Here's somebody that we did the same with. What would it mean to you if you could get those sorts of results? Wow. Is that a priority of yours to work on getting that extra 10,000 into your bank account right now? It is a priority. Great. And we move on. Here's the lovely Sash. You're going to hear from her and her phenomenal speaker program coming up fairly soon. I think about 12 months ago, we worked on one of the programs, and the DNQC just made it so much easier and less stressful because you're not selling me, you're selling the system, the program, and it takes the pressure off selling. And Sash just uses it. Now, I remember you telling me once that you were about to talk to somebody, you were driving along, you pulled out, you had your blueprint that was just sort of hand drawn, and used the blueprint and the DNQC, and they become a client. So you don't have to get it perfect all the time to get it right. Will this work for you? Depending on where you're at, the highs and the lows. This has helped life coaches sell their first ever. This has helped this guy who, again, I was being interviewed to go on to his Mentor to Millions podcast. He's one of the top consultants globally. And we went through some of the stuff. I ended up coaching him a little bit. He said, Steve, I've spent 4 years and $500,000 on guru coaches. And he got the system. He understood it in 15 minutes, used it 2 days later, and nailed a pretty significant deal, $360,000. That's not typical results, but it's pretty good. So we've gone through, quick wrap up. Be the prize, create your positioning, increase. Use podcasts and pod guesting to increase who you're in front of, and leverage. This is leveraged, easy, fun marketing. DNQC and collaborate with the agreed implementable value. They're tiny bits of this, and it adds dollars. Your conversion rates, without even being pushy, is making a massive, massive difference. Now, if you just add up some of that, if you just increase your close rates, minimum people get is around about 20 to 30%. So if you add all that up, what would it mean to you to put this system into your business? So you don't have to go too hard on the pod guesting to get value out of your positioning. You don't have to go too hard on the pod guesting to get value out of increasing your sales 30%. I'm a business person. I'm teaching you how to grow your business. You have 3 key components that everybody asks. How do I stand out in my market? How do I get in front of more of the right people? And how do I sell better without being pushy or sleazy? Just put put an S in there for Steve, because we've got Y's and yeses. Put S in there for Steve, as in, have I delivered on the 3 key promises that I said I was going to give you the frameworks to stand out in your market, to get in front of more of the right people, and to be able to sell better without being pushy or sleazy. Got a few S's coming through there. Okay. So I'm going to let you know the program that I have created just for you. It is called Pod Guest Profits Launched. I've created it knowing you're busy. I've created it knowing that there may be other people here that you may want to invest in as well. Okay. So the interesting thing is when you invest in this program, and more importantly, invest in you, it can layer on top of. If you're going to go with Sasha and learn speaking and become a speaker, guess what? Getting on a podcast and leveraging podcasts goes hand in hand. Nick, with his funnel and his digital marketing and the work that he does there, it goes hand in hand with what they're doing as well. So whatever you're looking at doing, I've packaged and priced it in a way that it can layer and fit in with anybody else that you want to work with. Here it is. The Blueprint Conversion System is my key program that helps you position, package, and sell. They're the two parts of the blueprint that this program does. The smallest to the biggest, my 8-figure SaaS clients all have to go through this program first. You then get Podcast Profits. You get the online training, all the modules, how to create your 6-figure podcasting strategy is all included in Podcast Profits online that you can do at your own time. Type an M in if you would like me to hold your hand to do a little bit of group mentoring with you to help you implement this. Would anybody like to work in a small group with me to help me break down the barriers? A few people saying M, yep. So we've got a group mentoring session. I've said an hour, but it's actually probably going to be 90 minutes because those who've done the training with me know that I don't get off until the last person's questions answered. On the 3rd of September, we're going to have a group program. We're going to get together. You'll have done most of what you need to do. You'll have had a look at it. And you're going to come, Steve, how do I do this? What do I do this? I'll be answering all of your questions, helping you position, package, and sell better, and how to leverage to get on podcasts. Plus, I will share with you some of the secrets that we have to get on. Now, that in itself, it's a no-brainer. 222. And I know Paul is going to drop in the link for you to grab that right now. That there is going to get you the complete online training that everybody that I work with goes through. The biggest, the smallest, no matter what. You get Podcast Profits. You get how to have the conversation with the host, how to get on, how to build the energy, how to engage the audience, and how to have the audience, the language that gets the audience running towards you. Okay? So it's not just hope and pray. There's also ways that we share with you on how you can introduce your gift in a way that they're hanging for it at the end. Okay? So that's the package and that's the program. Paul, you've got the link in the chat there. There may be people watching the replay. So I'll actually put it up on here as well. If you're watching the replay, here it is. So I'll get that out of the road. But very quickly, how many of you like fast results and how many of you like slow results? Your success timeline to give you the tools, the confidence, and the boost to generate an additional 20,000 in the next 6 months. Is that a good goal? Putting $200 down to get 20,000 in the next 6 months. Is that a good investment? Yeah, it's not bad. In fact, I'm going to tell you this guy here, and I'm going to go back. And if there's any time to open up for questions, I'll be happy to take them. The Blueprint Conversion System is easy to get through. Ryan went through it in one weekend. This is an actual video that I'm not going to play. His words were, Steve, I devoured the Blueprint Conversion System online course over the weekend, got clarity, reworked my position, created my blueprint, used it all on Monday, and signed a $15,000 client in 2 days. Is that good results? So I'm going to go quickly back to this slide. So if you are somebody who has a course, is a coach, is a speaker, a consultant who sells their knowledge, their skills, or their expertise, or has a service, then there is generally a podcast where your people are listening to. out of 3.4 million podcasts, there's got to be somebody with your target market. In fact, what I'll do is those that are joining up right now, I will give you a list of the top 958 podcasts as well. So you can go searching, you can go and see what podcasts there are available for you to get on, do your market research, and you'll know where to go. I won't leave you behind. We're going to teach you how to position yourself and stand out, how to get on the right podcast, how to act on the podcast, and how to leverage the 4 Ps to generate income greater than what you ever thought possible. And most importantly, you will learn a sales framework that you could use forever and a day. If all you did was turn up and learn the sales framework, then this whole thing will be worthwhile. So 222, that's it. If you believe in yourself, like you said at the beginning you did, then it's time to invest in yourself and commit to growing your business. And I'm going to be looking forward to seeing you come through and working with those people who are ready to rock and roll.
Steve, it's been amazing. Look, you said you wouldn't mind doing a couple of minutes of Q&A, and if you'd like to, I can find you maybe 2 minutes for Q&A. We can talk a little bit while the questions go in the box.
Yeah,
Mate,
look, you're the timekeeper, buddy, so I'm in your hands.
I've got 2 minutes, mate. I can do 2 minutes. I can transition through to Wayne. We've got a few prizes, but I've got 2 minutes here. If there are any questions you'd like to, or people would like to ask and you'd like to answer, that would be fantastic. Put them in the box for Steve. So Steve, one of the things about this, right, is this is podcasting, but this is also you're a businessman. You're going to help them to put processes in place and systems in place to maximize their efforts, to convert better, to present better. This all ties into the same stuff, right?
Yeah, the Blueprint Conversion System is a business building course. It is purely how do you position yourself, package yourself, sell yourself as a business, as an entrepreneur. For those who do, and it's really good for those who sell the intangible. We share and show you how to do that. Podcast Profits is all about what do you do to generate income as a guest. Because if you spend 1 hour a week finding good podcasts to get on, 1 hour a week being on podcasts, that's more than I do. I get on 1 or 2 a month and I'm doing 6 figures because I'm doing it the right way. So that's 2 hours a week that you could generate easy between $20,000 and $100,000 done the right way. Now, I don't know any other investment of time, and that 1 hour a week, that 2 hours a week doesn't cost you anything. It's not paid marketing. If you can spend an hour to find the right podcast to get on and leverage them for $20,000, it's a good investment.
It's a great investment, and there's some great people. There's some people in this day today who've got some fantastic podcasts, who have some fantastic guests on. I'm sure give the opportunity to work with you as you go along. Look, I've got no questions for you. I really want to thank you, mate. I know because I've done it. That presenting when you're a little bit off color, it's a tough yard. And I really appreciate the energy and the effort. Which platform are you podcasting?
I don't have a podcast. And a lot of people say, Steve, do you have a podcast? I said, no, I make more money from podcasting. We show people, and great question, Derek. Actually, I do in some of our other training teach people how to be a better podcast host. There are hundreds of different platforms that you could use to promote yourself. But as a guest, it's where do you find the people? And we show you how to do that. And you are a guest on their platform. Now, remember, the actual podcast is a small part of the income generation. It's the doorway to open opportunities. So as far as which do I host my podcast on, I don't, because I do significantly make more money and it's greater time investment as a guest.
And the podcast you attend, you don't really mind, Steve, if they're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You don't care what they are, right? As long as they've got people who are watching, you can maximize from podcasting, right?
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, 85% of my money is made outside of the actual episode itself. That's
really cool.
Yeah. It's yeah, sure. I get on, and for sometimes, you know, I've got one client that's already paid me over 100,000, and they came from a podcast. Yet, you know, a lot of it is how do I collaborate with Paul, the host? Paul's got a whole community that needs what I have or may. So on Monday this week, there was a 90-minute gold patch. I did a 25-minute interview as a guest. The host said, fantastic, Steve. By the way, what if we put our things together and we have a meeting next week on the collaboration of the new package? He's got a $100,000 package that wants to include my stuff. Then we're doing a webinar to launch that. So that will generate significant. The next call I had was somebody to interview me cold. I was introduced to them. Say, Steve, Deeb introduced us. You'd be good for my podcast, blah, blah, blah. We had a discussion. We went from one topic to two, and we also went to 2 extra webinars to get to a different audience as well. So when you go into those conversations with the multiple of leverage points, you're not focusing on, I've got to get the most out of the interview. I've got to get the most out of the interview. The interview is a great bonus.
Really like it, Steve Bosman. Thank you very much for joining us. Great effort, and appreciate you coming in while you're sick. I'm going to sum up with one statement before. I'm not going to get you back. I've got to go from the statement on to the close. But when you're an expert working in this industry, you know there are a lot of people who aren't experts, who are very well marketed, who are getting a lot of business. And there are a lot of people who are fantastic, amazing at what they do, and they don't know how to do this, and they don't know how to get customers, and they don't know how to close them, and they go nowhere. And it is the difference. You know, your knowledge is, your knowledge is important, but having the people around you that allow you to do these things and get your message out is the difference between getting out there and not getting out there. Mate, I've loved listening to you speak. Thank you very much. I'll have a chat with you during